world is falling. Can't you feel the sound? Voices shouting, but no truth is found. We draw our lines between left and right, but love is silent while we choose to fight. How many tears must we cry before we see each other and close the war? Nobody cares until somebody dies. We're blind to the truth, deaf to the cries. Nobody cares about humanity. Hearts in chains, lost in disparity. Forget about races, can't you see? We are all the same, you and me. Wake up world, can't you see? We are losing our humanity. We are people with hearts that bleed the same, yet all we do is want to place the blame. Wake up world, can't you see? We are losing our humanity. Families broken, torn by pain. Another headline, just another day. We point our fingers, we shift the blame, but everyone still bleeds the same. If love is fading, what will remain? A broken world full of endless pain. Nobody cares until somebody dies. We're blind to the truth, deaf to the cries. Nobody cares about humanity. Hearts in chains, lost disparity. Forget about our races, can't you see? We are all the same, you and me. Wake up world, can't you see? We are losing our humanity. We are people with hearts that bleed the same, yet all we do is want to place the blame. Wake up world, can't you see? We are losing our humanity. Take my hand, let's break these chains. Heal the hurt, erase the shame. One world, one voice, one destiny. Together we can rewrite history. Nobody cares until somebody dies. We're blind to the truth, deaf to the cries. Nobody cares about humanity. Hearts in chains, lost disparity. Forget about our races, can't you see? We're all the same, you and me. We are people with hearts that bleed the same. You know we do is want to place the blame. Wake up world, can't you see? We are losing our humanity. Wake up world, before it's too late. Open your eyes, love can still change our fate. One world, one people, hearts that beat as one. Don't let our humanity be gone. shadows whisper, darkness hides. We're diving deep into the unknown. On a journey, you're not alone. From haunted halls to specters lost, we'll guide you through the eerie frost. With tales that chill and spirits roam. A freaking awesome paranormal show. Ghostly whispers, ancient tomes, mysteries in haunted homes. Brace yourselves, it's time to go. The freaking awesome paranormal show. The freaking awesome paranormal show. Ghostly whispers, ancient tomes, mysteries in haunted homes. Brace yourselves, it's time to go. The freaking awesome paranormal show. The freaking awesome paranormal show. Welcome to the midnight tide, where shadows whisper, darkness hides. We're diving deep into the unknown. On a journey, you're not alone. From haunted halls to specters lost, we'll guide you through the eerie frost. With tales that chill and spirits roam. The freaking awesome paranormal show. Ghostly whispers, ancient tomes, mysteries in haunted homes. Brace yourselves, it's time to go. The freaking awesome paranormal show. The freaking awesome paranormal show. Ghostly whispers, ancient tomes, mysteries in haunted homes. Brace yourselves, it's time to go. The freaking awesome paranormal show.
The engine is starting up.
For launch, GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
Go pending final steps to cabin link check.
2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Rift Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
What's up, all you freaks out there? This is Ryan.
And this is Rhonda.
You know what? That voice came through again.
I didn't hear it. I
Yeah,
don't hear it. It's got to be
Weird.
something that got recorded over or something then.
I guess so, but I don't even know what it was. That it's weird. I don't know. I could hear a little bit of it when I started. A little like the male's voice coming through, but I don't know what is. There's no like sound clip that has that on there.
Huh.
So
Neat.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. But welcome to the Freakin Awesome Paranormal Show. This is Ryan.
This is wrong. I feel like I just had a deja vu
That's right.
moment. Or haven't we done this already?
Yeah. Yes. It's like every time I hear that voice, I'm like, what the hell is that? I want to thank Jeannie Karaya for providing us with the songs. I played Losing Our Humanity at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I just found out the other day when she came on our TikTok show, which guys should be watching every Thursday night at 9:00, that she puts healing into her songs. So if you need to get healed, or you feel like a certain way, and you feel like you need some healing, some Reiki or whatever, listen to our show, and you'll get healed. We're healing the world here, Rhonda.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
One song at a time.
Exactly. You thought we were just going to bring you great paranormal content, which we do. But we're also healing you guys thanks to Jeannie Karaya.
That's right.
So check her out. And she says she's put healing vibes into all of her songs. So go to Spotify, look her up. And of course, come listen to us for all the healing you need.
We usually know a person for that, so we can direct you in the right way.
Yes, exactly. And did you know that today's Mickey Mouse's birthday?
Oh, wow.
So happy
I did
birthday,
not know
Mickey
that.
Mouse. I didn't know it until like 10 minutes ago when I looked it up.
Well, that's a holiday for sure.
It is. It's also Apple Cider Day. I was more of a Donald Duck fan than Mickey Mouse, to be honest with you guys. I'm not going to lie. But, Mickey's pretty cool too.
Yep.
What's up, Michelle? Hey, Kevin. Hey, Michael. Hey, Sharon. Renee's in the house.
Kevin.
That girl's in the house.
That girl, Renee. Look at all these folks joining us. This is awesome.
I cannot believe that November is almost over. Like, I'm looking at the calendar, I'm like, holy crap, Thanksgiving's next week.
And it's late. It's kind of later in the month because, like,
it's gone by so fast.
After that weekend, we're in December.
It's crazy. I'm thinking, like, when October ended, I'm like, we have plenty of time.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna feel like taking it for. It feels like it's just flying by.
It is.
For some reason, I've been feeling extra sentimental, like nostalgic.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Some holiday seasons, but I'm just like tired of it. I'm ready for it. I don't really care.
Right.
But this time, I just feel like I need to savor each moment, or do my best to try to savor each moment.
Yeah.
But it's just weird how sometimes it affects people in different ways,
Yeah, I would agree with that. Some you feel more rushed and you don't get a chance to enjoy it, and sometimes it just hits you a little different, and you want to slow down. And I think though the way people, of course, it's like with Halloween, we were doing Halloween in July, right? People were buying their stuff, and so I mean, you're seeing more and more people because. A lot of times people don't wait till like the week of, or like a lot of times it's the day after Thanksgiving when people do their decorations. And now, I mean, their houses in my neighborhood already decked out.
I've seen a few.
I think a lot of people must be feeling it because they're starting early this year.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I think with Halloween, it's like there is like nothing that leads up to Halloween. Like maybe 4th of July,
Right.
But you know, you're kind of starving for any kind of holiday when Halloween gets here. But then it's like Halloween goes right into Christmas, and it's like, you know,
Yeah.
one right after another. So those are my thoughts on the holidays. Just savoring each moment, because by, you know, it'll be January, and of course it's just gonna be all over in like a minute.
Yeah.
You know.
For sure.
So, but you know what people need?
What?
People need to know how to live their life.
You don't want anybody
We
to
give
live your
them
life.
healing, and we give them the key to a better future, thanks to the cards.
Yeah, I was gonna pull from my normal deck, and give a message, but this deck literally jumped out at me, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pull from it. So this one is Notes from the Universe on Abundance. It just seemed right for today for whatever reason. Let me give it one more pass, and we'll see what we get out of it. So, all right, got a nice, pretty card here. And it says, what if we change the word work to dance with life? And instead of viewing it as an alternative to fishing or a way of paying our dues, we saw it as a chance to meet a parade of new friends, discover our own untested potentials and unpolished gifts, and open avenues for abundance to come pouring into our life. Yeah, I bet lottery sales would plummet. Start the parade. So, you know, they always say that instead of saying I have to, say I get to. I have
That's
to go to
another-
work. I get to go to work. I get to cook dinner. I get to go outside. You know, change your perspective on what's going on with you, because we do. It does get mundane at times, right? Oh gosh, I gotta go to work. Oh gosh, I gotta get up at 6. But if you say I get to get up at 6, it makes it seem a little bit different.
That is total reverse psychology there, but it's all how you
Yes.
look at things, I guess.
Yep.
You know, and if you think about it, like if you think like this is, if you look at it like this is, it could be the last time I get to do something like this.
Yeah.
I get to go to work. Last time, if you look at like that perspective, like maybe try to show maybe a little bit of appreciation for what you're doing. I mean, it's not every day is going to work. You know, it's going to suck to get up and go to work. But
some people don't get to, though. So
yeah, I mean, it's a
glad
good
you
way
got a job.
to try to change the outlook on
Always.
getting to go to work, or you know, getting to get a root canal, or I get that root canal.
But then I get to get out of pain. I get to get my
That's
tooth
true.
fixed.
You got to go through a lot of pain first to get to the other side. Got a message from Renee, and she told me that she want me supposed to mention Bushnell Farm.
Okay.
See, Renee says she has a story about it.
Okay.
It was part of a battle with a connected BMI fought with a troop from Stanton. So Bushnell Farm, it's in Stanton, Virginia.
Okay.
So maybe she has a story about it that she'll talk about on her show. Does Renee have a show? I think she has a show.
She's on with Susan, not Susan. Susan.
I think she is. Yeah, she's on. Okay, that's right.
But then she's working on her own show to come soon.
Well, guys, tune into her show or it's the show with Susan to find out the exciting story she has to tell us about Bushnell Farm. I'm excited to hear about it.
Yep.
They're on Thursday night at 9:00 on the Rift Nation Network, I believe, or 8:00. I'm not sure which show is which because I know Susan does more than one show.
Mm-hmm.
So about Stanton. Oh, I thought you guys No, we're talking about the cabin. No, we're not even talking about the cabin tonight. We're
We're just talking about Dennis tonight.
Dennis. Yes. Yes, we are talking about the
The
paranormal
night of
life.
Dennis.
Yes. And, we'll talk a little bit about the cabin. But mostly we're going to be talking about his paranormal experiences. Dennis has been investigating the paranormal for a while. I'm not going to try to tell how many years he's been doing it because I really don't remember. But he is the founder of Commonwealth Researchers of the Paranormal. He is former host of Full Spectrum Radio. And he is the caretaker of the Cabin on 360. He's the owner of the Cabin on 360.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and bring Dennis onto the show, and we'll get this party started. What is up, brother?
Not much, brother. How's everybody tonight? Hi, Rhonda.
Hey,
Looking
doing
beautiful,
good.
my dear.
We are doing good, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, please stop blowing his ego. Well, that's kind of hard to do. Can't get any bigger than it already is.
Hey, now.
There's always room for growth. There's
I do
always
not
room
have
for
one.
growth.
See, that is just wrong. Wrong on so many. Being egotistical is a fault, and I have none of those.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, man. So, how have you been?
Oh, I'm all right. All right. Just making days go by and enjoying what little bit of sunshine and decent weather we have left in Virginia before old man winter sets in and freezes my ass off.
It's been pretty cold here
He's
lately.
trying.
Around here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely knocking at the door.
It'll probably be 80 degrees and we'll be in shorts at Christmas.
I would not complain.
I mean, I would a little bit. I don't want to feel like Easter when I walk outside. Oh, man.
Yeah. Now I understand though why rabbits, bunnies, and all have cotton balls. It's to keep them warm so they don't freeze bouncing around the ground.
Yeah, you won't have any bunny shrinkage.
That's right.
That's a common occurrence.
I'm glad you guys are so used to me. I had others where I would pull something like that and they're just like,
oh my God, this is so crass.
There's nothing politically correct about me at all.
No, if you're looking for that kind of show tonight, you guys are going to be out of luck because this is going to be balls to the wall.
You might want to scroll on.
Yeah, exactly.
Ronnie, I mean, he's not wrong. I got to run in circles in the shower to get wet, and I'm terrified of the drain, but that's beside the point. You didn't have to call me out like that, man. Jeez.
All right, so I want to get through this the formal stuff. You are the owner of the Cabin on 360.
Right.
Let people know how they can rent the place, how much it costs, just the basic stuff. Because all the rest of the stuff, people can go find out the history. They can find out by listening to the 100 podcasts you've done on the property. But I want people to give people who don't know how they can rent the property and all that stuff.
So quick and easy, go over to tco360.com. Booking calendars there, the FAQ page is there. There's a page there that explains the rates and the policies and all that. The email is there. You can hit me quick and easy at dennis@thecabinon360.com. Obviously, find me on Facebook. But those are the main points. The rates on it are Sunday through Friday, $350, and Saturday is $400. Those are all bookings are 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. I went to, and I won't say the name of this place, but it was in the brush and it was in the mountains and it was a prison. And come 3 a.m., they're like, you got to get the hell out. We're done. You're done. Get out. 3 a.m. Like, what the? I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere, and you're just going to kick us to the curb at 3 a.m. So we decided, and Ryan, you were part of this so many years ago, we decided that we're going to do overnight every investigation. And we're not asking you to get out by sunup. You know, if you want to take a nap from sunrise to 9 o'clock, go for it. But, you know, I wanted to make sure that folks had the time and make sure that it was a good value. You know, there's so many locations now that I think, and I was watching another podcast earlier, and her statement was, it's become a game for the rich. And I don't want that bullshit. I want a location that small teams can come in. Small teams can afford it. It's not going to break the bank. They don't have to pimp their sister out to afford a night at the cabin on 360. And they can come get some awesome evidence and activity. So there we go. Okay. Was that? I didn't mean that. That was a muscle response there. So she's loaded with jokes. What time do you let the ghost out each night? I got an email literally asking me what time do we let the ghost out. I don't want to wait all damn night. I looked at the screen for a moment while I'm reading the email and went, I don't know if I'm being punked. And of course, right away, smartass Dennis starts to answer it. Well, we usually unchain. No, shit, I can't do that.
The fact that somebody wrote that down,
Right.
typed that out, and looked at it and pushed send, I'm like, I don't know if I want you that, because I mean, you might hurt yourself, and I want to be responsible for that at the cabin.
Yeah, that one left me a little speechless. Yeah, you know, and the only way I can say it is these are just people in a different form, and they're going to interact at their leisure when they want, if they want, and it all depends on you. You know, if you go in, you start with that FBI interrogation attitude, most of them's just going to shut down. But if you go in like you're talking to friends, it's so much easier. And, you know, Renee, I see, you know, why is check-in so late? Mostly because I work full-time. I'm still a contractor by trade. The cabin is not my full-time employment. So I have to get off work and be able to meet people there, give them the tour, and et cetera. But if you're running ahead of time and you want to check in a little bit early, shoot us a message, man. We're usually pretty flexible on things like that. So,
I mean, if you
it
need me
works.
to, you can always send me
Yeah.
over to let the people in if you're having a hard time getting over there.
Yeah, you know, there's plenty of volunteers that I've got working with me, and I've got some great volunteers, but they'll all step up and help out.
So,
I would say
and you
some
got
are pretty standard. I mean, most places I've ever gone, some of them it's 7 or even some are a little bit later before you actually start. Some are 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that mountain prison that was in the brush, that was 9 p.m. check-in.
I'm glad you're not calling out any names, Dennis. I appreciate that. We don't want to throw anybody under the bus here.
Yeah, I don't want to piss anybody off, but it was a mountain in the brush that, you know, was a prison. But I mean, you know, and I get it. A lot of places they're working around the schedule of the location.
Yeah.
You know, and like I was talking to a friend of mine today on the phone, and he said, you know, one thing that most people don't understand is the first question that they usually ask, is there anybody here who wants to talk to us? How about if you walk in, you go, hey, it's great to see you again. We just want to sit down and have a chat with you. And I think that's so much better than assuming there's nobody there. You know,
Yeah.
if I sit down in your living room and I kind of look around and I go, hey, is there anybody here who wants to talk to me? And you're sitting over there looking at me going, I'm right fucking here, douchebag. You know,
That would be weird.
we have to look at it as they can see us. They can see us just like, we see each other. And I thought about it for a minute and I went, damn, John, you are right. That's a brilliant thought. Just talk to them like you're sitting in your friend's living room. You are in their living room 9 out of 10, or at least in their space. Oh, shit, that's a cool thought.
And we already know there's people there who are there.
Oh,
Whether
yeah.
they want to talk to us or not, that's up to them. But,
Yeah.
we already know it's haunted.
Yeah. I mean, we've got plenty of evidence that points to that. And even if it's your first visit to a location, not just the cabin, but any location, even if it's your first visit, but you've seen where other teams have said, we got this or we got that, you automatically know that there is spirit there. It may not be there at that exact moment, but keep in mind, they don't know you from, the used car salesman. Go in and talk to them like your friends. Introduce yourself. Hey, I'm Dennis, just so you know. Thanks for hanging out with me. I just simply hope you're willing to talk with me. And see how it changes things. But I think in this field, all of it is perspective and how you go in energy wise. One of our warnings at the cabin is if you go in with a piss poor attitude at the beginning of the night, you're probably going to have a really rough night.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That is the truth.
It's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be very boring because they're like, no. And I talked about this just the other night with the public group that we had. I said, if you're the one that's sitting back in the corner with a little grump face and you got RBF going on, you look like Walter, they're probably not going to talk to you much. But the ones that are over here cracking up, having a good time, they're probably going to go, I'm more drawn to them. You just sit over there and keep your resting bitch face to yourself. I'll just go have fun.
There are a lot of times when we'll be upstairs talking and you'll hear them talking underneath us because they want to get into the conversation.
Yeah, it's
Right.
some of our best evidence has been garnered while we were just shooting the shit. And you'll hear them jump right in the middle. And
It's kind of annoying because you think you get a great AVP, then you're talking over it because you don't know that they're
Right.
Yeah. But you know what? That just gives them a little more reason to talk to you more when you are actually asking questions and hoping that they step in. And I've said this for the longest time when I do my presentations. Try to keep it fun. The most common theme or thread that unites all of us, I don't care what your race, religion, political background, all of that goes out the window when you're dealing with spirit. But the one thing that connects everybody is humor, laughter, fun, high energy, good vibe. And that goes all the way back to the first time that Uga Chukka, the caveman, slipped in dinosaur shit and the rest of the clan busted up laughing at him. It was all just fun. And that goes a long way in the paranormal world as well.
This is true. You have got the investigation here at Pamplin Park coming up here. Give us a quick rundown about our involvement with Pamplin, because I want to get like everything, all the stuff we have going on. You have our involvement with Pamplin, what it is, and what people can expect if they buy tickets to an event out there.
Sure. So we've worked with Pamplin Park now for, I believe, 6 years. Each time that we go out, it's just a fundraiser for the park, like any historic location, any living history museum, and this one's actually a full live museum. They're all struggling right now. COVID pretty much kicked the ass of most historic locations. The foot traffic that they rely on, the school groups that they relied on, all of those went away for several years, and they're just starting to come back. But we've been going to Pamplin. Pamplin sits on 424 acres of battlefield. They've got a 80,000, I believe, square foot museum with thousands of artifacts. They have actual earthworks, the breakthrough line. They have Tudor Hall, which was the Boyceau family home. That, you know, the Boyceau family had 6 children that none made it to adulthood. And we've interacted with those children. It was featured on Jack and Katrina's show, Portals to Hell. And they had amazing activity. And both of them said, man, we'd come back in a heartbeat. We could easily do a double episode out of this place just from the activity that we've gotten in this one brief period. But we go out, we set up the groups, we make rotations through 5 different areas, and we get to investigate this property that doesn't normally get investigated. So the spirits there are pretty receptive to us. And, you know, with thousands of soldiers killed on the property during the Civil War, there's a ton of energy on the land. The buildings all have energy. It's just a great time. And, you know, the folks at Pamplin, which I think Banchero, I think, is still in chat. He's wonderful to work with. He's head of operations out there. Amanda is one of the employees there. She comes out and hangs out with us, gets the check-in done, gets you assigned to a group. You know, they just try to make it as flawless as possible. So we just have a great time.
The museum they have there is like one of the best I've been to. The interaction in the museum, it's a great place to visit, even like just come out during the day. It's a great place to walk around. It's a great place. The museum is so like I said, interactive. There's just, it's amazing, like the amount of detail they put into the battlefield. Because you go to Cold Harbor, basically all they have is like one building that's got a little bit of stuff in the back of it, and the rest of it's like, you know, souvenirs and stuff.
Yeah.
Even Gaines Mill doesn't even really have anything.
Oh.
But Pamplin, man, they go all out, and they definitely need our help. Not just with paranormal investigations, but, you know, during the day, take your family out, go out there and just enjoy yourself. Cause it's, you know, these places are disappearing, and if we don't support them, they're not gonna be around anymore. So, you know, we need to try to do what we can to help them out as much as we can, you know, with even with trying to save the battlefield, Bethesda Church. There is a GoFundMe that you can donate money to help us save the battlefield at the cabin, behind the cabin on 360. Bethesda Church, that we could save that piece of land for future generations to come out and enjoy. We are planning on clearing out the back, adding different camps, a Union soldier camp, a Confederate soldier camp, and a Native American camp. If Dennis is able to buy the property and make it his own. And he has a lot of great ideas for it. And, you know, every little bit helps. You know, you think, oh, I can only donate $1, but if like 100 people donate $1, that's $100 right there.
Right.
You know, or 1,000 people donate $1, that's $1,000. You know, it adds up, and we could use all the help we can get. That's where we have tried people to come out to rent the cabin or go on these investigations at Pamplin Park. Come to our public investigations. You know, we are really trying to save history here, just like you guys for FPRI are doing with Belgrove Plantation. And so
just keep the history alive. If we don't, it gets swept under the rug, and it becomes like Monumentless Avenue in Richmond.
Oh my God, it's so depressing.
Yeah.
And,
you know, that was such a beautiful stretch of road going down.
And now it's, you know, they need to change the name to Monumentless.
Just call it Avenue.
Yeah, it's just Avenue.
Just Avenue. So I wanted to, you know, get into like how you got started into the paranormal. Some of the lesser known stories that people may not know about, like your paranormal experiences. Um,
I mean, I'm going to take you back to the very beginning, my first time interacting with spirit, or I didn't even realize I was at the time, but I was 7 years old, and I had my brother was 4 years older than me, and he slept bottom bunk, I slept top bunk, and we had already been in bed asleep for I don't even know how long. I don't know what time it was at night, but my grandfather woke me up. Now my granddaddy was 6'2". He is standing there looking me eye to eye, tells me good night, or tells me goodbye. He loves me and he'll see me later. Oh, okay, Granddaddy. Well, they lived about 2.5 hours away. And I didn't know that they were coming up. So, I tell him good night. I love him. I'll see him in the morning. I rolled over, went back to sleep. A little while later, Mom came in, turned on the light. You boys need to get up and get dressed. Well, why? Is this because Granddaddy went away? When did they even come up? I didn't know they were coming. Mom asked me what the hell I was talking about. I said, well, he was here a little bit ago, woke me up, told me goodbye, he loved me, and he'd see me later. She's like, you just need to get your ass up. Granddaddy had had a massive heart attack a couple hours earlier, what they call the widowmaker, and passed away. But, why he chose to come to me, tell me goodbye, I don't know. I think it was pretty cool. But that was my first interaction. Then somewhere around 10, 12 years old, I had two cousins that were in my age range. Ronnie, we didn't have a sundial in our cave, man. But we had these two cousins. One's 3 months older than me, and one is 2 years older than me. He's now passed away. But we had heard that if you go out in the cemetery and you put a tape recorder out, you could catch the voices of the dead. And we're like, that'd be kind of cool. So we did that. They lived, within view of a very large old cemetery. But we went out and we set my old boom box out in the middle of the cemetery and captured somebody whistling a tune. Well, we asked their father, who was a musician, do you know this tune? And he's like, yeah, it's a song from the 40s. Who was whistling that? Where'd you capture that? Of course, now we got to snitch on ourselves and admit that we snuck out of the house to go to the cemetery and do this. But it was worth it. It kind of proved to us that you can truly pick up voices and things in the cemetery, and you can hear the dead. And then when I was 16, my next very prevalent situation with spirit occurred. My brother took his own life. I was walking to the corner market to buy a pack of cigarettes, and I distinctly remember hearing him and feel his energy approach me and told me goodbye. He loved me and he would always have my back. And it's one of those where you're kind of looking around and you're going, what the hell? I know what that was. But, I didn't see him anywhere. And I'm like, that was just bizarre. I'm losing my mind. And then at 9 o'clock at night, the police came and knocked on our door to let us know that they had found my brother, that he had hanged himself that afternoon. I interacted with or thought he came to me right at noon, and coroner put the time of death somewhere between 11 and 1 a.m. and p.m. So right about the time that I felt that he had visited me was right in the middle of that coroner's time of death estimate. So that kind of set me on the path of what the hell is there to this? There's got to be something, as I've said 100 times in presentations and all, when this meat suit dies, when this vessel that carries the energy and the essence, the spirit and soul that is me, what do I get to look forward to? So, I kind of set out on that journey that I want to see what they can and cannot do and what's on the other side.
So when you have these experiences, did you talk to anybody about it, or were you trying to just
Oh
figure it
hell
out
no!
on your own?
Not back then. You didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have medicated my ass. So you hear voices? Here, take the green pill. No,
You
back
been one of
then.
those asylums that we investigate.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I will give, um, the TV shows and everything props for. They've brought the paranormal a little more mainstream, and you still get the majority. And Rhonda, I guarantee you get it, and Ryan, I'm sure you do. Anytime that you're out in public, you'll get. I don't want you to think I'm crazy, but
Yep.
Yeah, all the time.
yeah. Whereas back in that day, man, if you told somebody you had an experience, they're like, "So how long have you had schizophrenia?"
Yeah, how you hearing
Right.
voices? Okay, it's
Yeah,
here's a nice padded room for you.
yeah. This was you're talking in the late '70s, early '80s, and when my brother passed, that was in '86. So it wasn't something that you spoke very freely about. It just no, you kind of kept that hush hush. Now, I did have an experience once we started running the cabin. It was you and Carissa that investigated the cabin, and you ended up with Lori Johnson on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up in Messenger with her, and we were talking about the cabin initially. And the next thing I know, she is describing my family members, naming family members. And the statement that she made to me that will stick with me most is, your grandmother wants you to know that she is very happy that you used the gift that she gave you to help others. And, you know, I remember my grandmother when I was a kid burning sage in the house. And I'm like, I thought it was just for the air freshener effect, kind of like incense or something along that lines. Um, yeah, Agatha, it goes without saying, they look at us like we're weird. But,
Because
you
we are.
know, well, we are, yeah. We sit in the dark and we talk to people that we can't see and hope that they talk back. But yeah, I remember
We're
grandmother
normal.
talking to spirit, or she would be able to tell me things that she shouldn't know because it hadn't been part of the conversations that we had had, or just things like that. And you'll have to remember too, my mother grew up in the Smoky Mountains, like back in the holler. Um, she tells me that she was like 12, 10 or 12 before they ever had indoor plumbing. And she was like 16 before they had asphalt within 5 miles of her. So you're talking backwoods Appalachia, you know, there's a lot of things that go on in the Appalachian Mountains that we don't understand. And some of those folks that grew up there, um, you never know what they've experienced. Focus. There we go.
There you go.
So, it doesn't surprise me that my grandmother was able to talk to spirit. And I remember meeting one of her sisters, and she was sitting there with, I'm looking at it going, what the hell is that? She had a mortise and pestle sitting on her little chair side table on the front porch, and she was mixing up potions. I'm like, okay. So, it's been something, and I think it's generational. I think it can be handed down. Um, I believe it is truly a gift that can be handed from one to the next.
So you have this gift. What it's hard to figure that stuff out on your own. Did you, as you're coming into your own as far as paranormal stuff, did you have anybody to help you, kind of guide you to figure out what was going on?
I had a couple of ladies and gentlemen along the way that would help me understand. Because you're going to have questions, but the trouble with it is, and I it kind of goes along with, it's something that you have to learn. You have to learn what you can do and how you read it and how you see it and how you interact with it and how they interact with you. It's not a one size fits all thing. So, I've got a very dear friend that when I first met her, and Rhonda, you can vouch for this, we see that light about others that we know have a gift.
Yeah.
We just don't know exactly what that light means. We know there's a gift. We don't know what
Yep.
it is. And at the same time, you're looking at them going, what is your gift? And then I called her out as having the light, and she's like, what, like a flashlight? What the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, Lord. Well, as we go along, she keeps asking me, well, you know, how do I handle this? How do I handle that? I'm like, this is one of those things where I can't give you a book. I can't give you directions for how you deal with it. And that's kind of how I had to go through all of this, was just blind faith, muddle through and hope for the best, that what I'm picking up, what I sense, what I see, what I hear is right. And one of the things that I had to acknowledge first and foremost was, if I do a connection for somebody, I can't interpret it. I did a connection for a woman that was in Canada, and she asked me, one of her questions was, what did he, and she's asking about her fiance that perished in a house fire. Of course, she didn't tell me anything, and I told her at the beginning, tell me nothing. You're contacting me to get information. You let me give you information, not you give me. And she said, what did he think of the gift the kids gave him? And all I see is he's dancing and laughing, going, there's so much candy. There's so much candy. Well, if I tried to interpret that, I would have probably botched that one like horribly. So I just gave her exactly what he gave me. And I said, he's very happy. He's kind of dancing a little bit, telling me there's so much candy. And she's like, that's wonderful. All three kids put a bag of Werther's Originals in his casket. I said, okay. So it's not for me to understand or interpret. If Spirit gives me your nickname and I try to interpret that, well, they keep saying this. Maybe it's that. Meanwhile, you're back there going, I know exactly what it is. So I can't even try to interpret it. It's not my message. It's theirs. Um, I had a young lady that actually reached out to Shannon, one of my volunteers, um, and she wanted a interview. Well, I didn't even know. The only thing I knew was this girl's first name. I was wrong on what school she went to. But I sat on the phone and I shared some paranormal experiences and etc. with her. And then she called me again a couple of days later and she says, so I've got a couple of more questions. And I went, sure, but first I have a question for you. Who is the young blonde girl that I see in a red car? She died in that crash. And this is obviously related to you because she's presenting and telling me that she's proud of you. And she responds with, I have no idea. It doesn't, like, I can't think of anybody that correlates to. Then the next day she messaged me and says, holy shit, the scholarship that I'm on was created by a family whose daughter, blonde, died in a car crash. Well, okay. So now you know where that blonde girl that says she's proud of you, you got to benefit and you qualified for the scholarship that her family set up. And she's like, as soon as that one hit me, I started bawling. And I went, you're going to. That's pure energy. That is love in its purest form. And that's, I couldn't tell her this girl's name because I didn't know it. The girl just showed me this image real briefly of her and this red car, and then the red car is all smashed up.
If you think about it, the fact that she talked to you and you are able to convey that message to her, that not other people who have the scholarship, she may have visited them too, but they would never know
Right.
because they don't have the ability to see them, or don't know anybody who has the ability to see them.
Yeah,
So
they don't have that switchboard operator.
yeah,
And I'm
it's
sure,
like,
Rhonda, you describe yourself as that from time to time too.
Yeah, it's funny because I can relate. The whole thing about the interpretation, because we were going to a location the other weekend, and we were on the way there, and I was in the car with some of my teammates, and I just started spitting stuff out, and I kept what I believed and what I said, was it a teaching thing? Because I see students, I see a guy with a clipboard, he's like teaching, or he's a head person, and he's got all of these people with white on. Well, later I realized I should not have made the assumption that they were students. They were patients. You know what I mean? So that was me making, an observation, but I should have just said what I saw and not what I thought they were.
Yeah, and that's something that, and we all do it.
Yeah.
Um, if no matter where you're at or what, hey, Sean, no matter where you're at or what
hey, brother.
situation, if you see a group of living and you see one dude over here with a clipboard, and then you see a bunch of other folks dressed in white, and it's kind of misty and you can't determine what that is. Is it a medical, what do they call the jacket?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is it the gown, the patient gown? And you see like this misty form, but it looks like it could be a doctor's jacket. It could be described either way.
Right.
So it's that's why I stopped trying to interpret it,
Yeah.
because one, nobody likes to be wrong, and we're going to be wrong from time to time. It just happens. But the other part of it is I don't want to mislead those that the message is for. Um, I want to be able to say, okay, this is what I see. You figure it out. This is your shit anyway.
Right. When did you realize you were a remote viewer?
uh, I had seen things off and on for years, but never put two and two together. And then I think the most profound moment when I realized, holy shit, this is something I do. Honestly, Ryan in the intro mentioned Full Spectrum Radio. Well, we had Lyle and Tana Lotz join us probably 3 or 4 times on Full Spectrum Radio. And I did a reading on Lyle. And he's like, brother, we're going to be at Boxwood Inn at the Paracon. You have got to come down and meet us. I want to meet you. I said, yeah, no problem. So I went down and I met them for the first time face to face. This has been now probably 15 years ago, I guess.
Hard to
And
believe. Wow. That's
yeah,
crazy.
time has flown. But Lyle was like, well, listen, man, we've got an investigation coming up in a couple of weeks. And I just put my hand up and went, wait. And I start describing the spirits there, the location, what they're going to encounter, like everything. I laid it all out. And both of them are standing there and went, how the fuck do you know any of this? And I went, that's what I'm being told. It's what I see. And then he's like, you have to come join us. You have to be there for this just to get validation for yourself. He's like, everything that you just told us, we know because we've seen it, we've experienced it, we investigated there before, and we've got validation for all of that, but you've got to come out. Well, that was truly the first time that I knew this was something I could do. Prior to that, it was, I had never really validated things. It was just, this is what I see. But there was no true validation to it. So after that, it just kind of became, honestly, I did it for fun. I still do it for fun. I remember Ryan, you and Howie reaching out to me about
Yeah.
El Nemo's plantation.
Yeah. And you're pretty spot on with that. Even getting the name Washington, the person
Yeah.
who shows you around on EVP was pretty amazing. What's the farthest you've ever remote viewed? Was it North
Um,
Dakota?
yeah, that one that reached out to you from your show. And I mean, I've had others, but that's the one that stands out most to me.
That was crazy. For those of you who don't know, I got a message from a lady in North or South Dakota. I don't remember which one it was. That her friend was having paranormal difficulties and asked if I knew anyone that could help her. And I'm like, I don't know anybody in North Dakota. And I basically just started the show, basically just started in the paranormal, if I'm being honest. But I knew that Dennis could remote view. So I went over to his house and I'm like, look, I have this. I showed her the message, and he was like, come over Friday night. Tell her we'll call her Friday night, and we'll see what we can do. So I let her know that's what we're gonna do. And so Friday night comes along, and we call her on the phone, and he basically walks her through her entire house and tells her what to do, and tells her who's there and what's causing it and stuff like that. And a couple weeks later, her friend messages me, and she was like, "All right, what did your friend do?" Because my friend is freaked out, and she was like, "How did he know all that stuff?" And it almost felt like she thought that we snuck up to North Dakota, stuck cameras in her house, and then drove all the way back to Richmond to call. That's what it sounded like, and she
At, at,
freaked out.
at just some random house because we
Yeah,
didn't have an address. All we
no,
had was her first name.
yeah,
This
we had no idea
is
where she lives.
you know,
I mean, she was freaked out by it, and I don't think she was expecting what she got.
no. I
I
mean,
think it
I
opened
even
her
found
eyes.
out that her son was on the spectrum, and I told her who was watching over him and where shadow figure the tall man was seen most often, and it blew her mind away. I even called out if I remember, I called out the square footage of her house to her, and she's like, "How the hell do you know all of this?" And I went, "It's what I'm being shown and told."
You're just a lucky guesser. That's all it is. So
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. I mean, there's only 7 million houses or whatever in fucking North Dakota, and I just happen to be able to guess my way walking all the way through hers.
That's the explanation, guys. He just
But
guesses and guesses really good.
yeah, I
Can't
think
get lottery numbers.
I
That
would have.
would help.
Oh shit, right? I keep telling him, "Give me numbers, man. Give me numbers." But I don't. I would have loved to have seen her face because she's there experiencing what I'm doing as I'm like literally. I told her to put her back against the inside of her front door, and I walked her through her house.
Mm.
And I would have loved to have seen the look on her face because if it was anything like the look on Ryan's face when she's going, "How the fuck do you know any of this?" and Ryan's going, "What did you just do?" And it worked that night that whatever was there wanted to make contact, wanted to be known, wanted them to know that they were safe. And it turned out, I think, that it was her dad watching over her son, and son was freaked out by him. But like with Belnemus, I got literally a guided tour of the whole property, and that was a first. Like Spirit literally took me on that tour of Washington, showed me things that were how the house was then that had been changed over the years. And Ryan thought he had me a couple of times. He's like, nope, there are no cellar doors right there. And I'm like, well, I'm telling you now, there were, and that's where Washington took me. And then we find the historic photograph, and sure enough, there's cellar doors where I said they were. It just, it's fascinating to me how the mind works. And I don't think it's just that I am certainly not a 1% of the population that can do it. I think there are many, many others that can do it. It's just a matter of, do you accept being this weird, and will you put yourself out there to do it? And I think a lot more people can do this than they accept and acknowledge. Project Stargate, that was under the CIA command for 30 years. The federal government spent millions and millions of dollars on remote viewing and studying what ESP and the extra senses can do for knowledge. If the federal government and the CIA is going to spend millions on it, there has to be some reality to it.
Do you ever think about talking about this stuff with that the government might get in touch with you about?
No, the government's been in touch with me enough. Thanks. Matter of fact, you were in the parking lot at the cabin when the government was in touch with me that afternoon.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Can you explain to me why you broke traction? I hit the throttle too hard.
Oh God, yeah, that was funny. The fact and their reaction to us pulling into the rancher parking lot, and they're like, "I hate this house." And this is before we even did anything out there, really.
Yeah, that deputy was like, "Dude, you could have stopped right in the middle of the interstate, and I would have been perfectly happy. You did not have to come into this parking lot." Why?
That's early on in our tenure. I don't think we were just basically started investigating out there.
Yeah, we were just kind of hanging out and investigate once in a while, and that was it. But yeah, that deputy was not pleased that I pulled into that parking lot.
That was crazy.
But that's where I was going. I was replacing the faucet in the bathroom in the brick rancher.
And I remember, didn't they say that they got phone calls from the rancher when it was empty?
Yep, they used to get 911 phone calls when there wasn't even phone service in the building.
That does not surprise me.
No. Well, it does surprise me, honestly, because think about it. 911 system hasn't been in use like all that long, really. Back into, for most places, it was like the early 90s, late 80s. So you're only talking 30 years. And, before that, like when the murder occurred, it was like P.O. Box 5 something or another, Rural Route 1 was the address there. And that was just in 79. So the 911 system wasn't even in use at that point in time. So who or what has figured out, let's call 911. Who figured out what a telephone was? Because it's not like that's been around, since the Civil War. So, what spirits have figured out to use a telephone, that this is how you can manipulate that service to actually get response.
The same spirits that were messing around with the insurance agent's phone system.
And dicking his phone up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm on the phone for 30 seconds, sometimes several minutes, and then it goes click, pop. Oh, yeah. You haven't heard that one, Rhonda?
No, I had not heard that one.
Oh, my God. I nearly pissed myself. So I went out one afternoon Comcast dude is up on the
There we go.
pole. And I ask him, what's going on? When he comes down to the ground, he's like, this guy's got a complaint with his phone service. And about this time, here comes Clay stomping through the yard, looking like looking like I had just kicked his dog. And I'm like, hey, Austin. And he's like, have you guys got phone and internet in the cabin? No, we don't need it. Why? You having a problem? He's like, yeah, they just need to fix this shit. Sometimes I can be on the phone for, 30 seconds, sometimes several minutes. And then you'll hear a click and like some kind of grumbling, growling sound on it. You can hear yourself, but you can't hear the caller on the other end, or they can't hear you. It's like they just need to fix this shit. Comcast dude looks at him and goes, it's ghosts. Insurance dude looks at me and he apparently has no clue who I am. And he goes, don't even fucking start with me. I haven't yet. You will, though. I said, I don't recommend you talk to me like that. But, hey, I don't know what to tell you. We told you the place was haunted. And then Comcast looks at him and goes, well, look, sir, I've replaced the line from the pole to the structure. I've replaced all the lines inside your structure. The only other thing it could be is the main, and you are one of 17 drops on this main, and you were the only one with a complaint. It's ghosts. He turned and stomps off through the yard. Comcast dude looks at me and goes, I really don't know what else to tell him. I'm going to try the main and see what I can get out of that. But I don't want to go back in that building, man. That basement creeps me out. Understandable. But,
Wow.
and then it was 3 or 4 months later, maybe, that Ryan went out to do some brush work or whatever. And dude has packed and fled the coop.
Yeah. You people who have nothing to do with the paranormal, a police officer and a Comcast technician, they don't really have any reason to say it's ghosts or have any reason to fear the property other than how they feel.
What they've heard and how they feel. And I mean, we've had HVAC techs come out there that are like, man, I hope this shit doesn't break again. I don't want to come back here.
God, I think the funniest thing that I had happen to me was, when our first paranormal investigation, I got some glow in the dark paint, and me and Michael White's friend, daughter Kristen, we sprayed a bunch of like weird Halloween stuff like Boo, Cabin on 360, Get Out, just kind of creepy stuff, and we had a black light going in the room upstairs in the back bedroom.
The pink pearl.
Add some little decorations to the room. And that year, the heater HVAC went out, so there was no heat, and it was December. We were going to have a New Year's Eve party, and I think the Christmas investigation that might have been after. But the heater went out, and I asked Dad if he could go out and send someone to fix it. And he called me, and he was like, well, the guy came in here, and he went upstairs, and he said he wasn't going to go back inside and fix it because someone had written voodoo symbols on the walls, and he wasn't going to go back until those were gone. So I had to go take the paint off the walls. I'd basically put like a pumpkin, like a Pac-Man looking ghost on the wall. And this guy thought we had put like weird voodoo symbols on the wall, and we had cursed the place.
Your pumpkin sigil.
That's the stuff we're dealing with at the cabin.
Yeah, it's been one weird thing after another after another.
Are you gonna put a phone system into the rancher if you get the money to see if it fucks up?
No.
Okay.
There's no sense wasting the money. I don't need a phone in there. There's enough things that fuck up. I don't need a phone in there that I'm paying for to fuck up.
That's true.
I mean, if you look at the Facebook page, you'll see the videos that I post now and again from the Blink cameras.
Yeah.
The one that I posted, I think last week from the parents' bedroom, that was the first time that that camera had triggered in months. Now, not only is it the first time that it had triggered in months, it was the first of about 12 times that it triggered over a 3-day period, and the bitch hasn't done it since.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it I got no explanation. That camera went off about 12 different times over that 3-day period or so, and hasn't gone off since.
I was gonna say, well, did you remember to let the spirit out
I
so
mean,
it could?
I used the speaker on the camera and told him to get back in his damn cage, but I don't think it worked because I was still getting alerts.
Do you ever like use the speaker and try to do like an EVP session?
Oh yeah, yeah, I
From
have.
home?
Yeah, I have several times. So I have the blink, and then Ron Wood over at Booze Paranormal has adapted a couple of Roku cameras for me, and they see full spectrum. And one of them actually captured. I didn't know that when I go into live view on the Roku cameras, I have to select to record that live view. But while I'm looking at that, the volunteers, it was a Thursday night, we were doing our typical TikTok live. The volunteers had just gone to the basement, and I'm sitting there looking at the camera because it had only been in a couple of days. And I'm like, well, that's kind of, what the fuck was that? And then I clicked the screen to take a snapshot. Well, what I watched on the camera was what looked like a shadow figure walk out of that hallway coming from like the back, like bathroom, Randy's bedroom, mom and dad's bedroom is back that way. I could see Melissa's bedroom doorway clearly in the camera, but this came from beyond that, and I watched it walk out, turn that corner, and sit down on the love seat. And when I snap that screenshot, it looks like there is a figure sitting on the love seat under like where the thermostat is. And then somebody said, well, you didn't even call out the two standing in front of the fireplace. And now I'm scrambling to go back to the picture, and I'm like, what the hell? I mean, it looks like there are two spirits standing in front of like two shadow figures standing in front of the fireplace. And then on that love seat over there, you can definitely see a shadow figure. And I was just being a smartass with it to begin with, and I circled it in red and sent it to our volunteer chat and went, hey, what do y'all think this is? Because the running joke is if it's circled in red, it's got to be paranormal. But yeah, that happened to be, I screwed up when I did that. I didn't save the original, I went save as. Oops.
Wow. I mean, sometimes it takes a second for your brain to register
Yeah.
exactly, what you're looking at, and people are always like, well, why don't you take a picture of it? Well, sometimes you don't think about that.
Oh, no.
No.
Look, all right, so perfect example. Let's look at Henricus Park. We did an overnight out there, and if you're not familiar, Henricus Park dates all the way back to 1611. It was the second successful settlement in the New World. We did an overnight investigation for the public, general fundraiser for the park. I'm sitting at a fire pit with Sean, who at the time was their negative interpreter. Now he's sitting off to my left, and he is looking to my right. I am looking straight ahead. And I started to say something, and I turned to look at him to make a comment. It's 5:45 or so in the morning, and all I see out of his face is jaw hanging down, the puzzled look on his face, and what the fuck are you looking at? And at that moment, I see about 5 full-dressed native warriors walk across the tree line and disappear into the intersecting tree line. And I turned and looked at Sean, and I went, "Did you see what I think I just saw?" And he's like, "Dude, I don't know what you think you just saw, but if you saw what I just saw, holy shit." Well, the first thing people are asking is, "Did you get a picture?" Dude, I couldn't get my jaw off the ground. It was one of those moments where you're just like, and the brain is going, okay, reset, 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 reset. And then they were gone. But it was just cool as shit.
Yeah. By the time you realize what's happening, it's already gone, and it's just
Mhm.
you know
Yeah, it's
becomes
stunning.
becomes a personal experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
The story,
Man,
bro. Tell it again.
I know you have a lot more stories because I've heard them, and I would definitely want other people to hear because I know you had experiences at Dale. I want to hear about your experiences at Henricus Park. I know you have experience in a government building and experience while you're working the crane. Um, I don't have time. We can't do it tonight because I want to have you back to do a part 2 of this conversation.
Yep.
Yeah, Byron,
And
let me know when you want to do it. We'll make it happen.
awesome. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and spending time with us tonight. We really appreciate it. And of course, let people know how they can get in touch with you and whatever other kind of information you want to drop before we let you go.
All right, so go check out Pamplin Historical Park on Facebook. Come join me and the rest of the crew, the volunteers and the cabin folks. I've got Fredericksburg Paranormal Research Investigations coming up to join us as well at Pamplin. Pandora's Peregrination. I've got Christian coming to join us. And we're just going to go investigate the park, raise funds for the park, and help to keep them and keep their educational system alive and running so history doesn't die. That's this Saturday. As well, check us out over on Facebook for the Cabin on 360. Check us out. We've got 2 TikToks. So one is going to be the Cabin on 360 spaced out appropriately. The other one is the Cabin on 360, no spaces, all squeezed together. One is just this ugly ass mug from time to time looking at the camera going, "Did you know?" And I'm sharing little history and tidbits and things about the Cabin on 360 and the Battles of Bethesda Church. The other one, you'll catch us doing our lives, and that's where we post our events and things like that. We have decided next year we are doing Cabin Con 2026. And I have a question for you, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir.
How would you like the Freakin' Awesome Paranormal Show to be the podcast of Cabin Con 2026?
Yeah, that would be great. What do you think, Rhonda?
Sweet. I'm in.
Hell yeah.
You're on it.
Beautiful.
So we'll do that. We're looking at, and God forgive me if I fuck this up, end of May, I believe, is what we're targeting. I think it was like May 25, 26. But I've got to get the package put together yet, get the vendor package done. I've got to get the announcements out, get the flyers made. I've got to get my sponsor packages together. I already have some commitment from Larissa, Rex, and they're going to step up again and back us up. So we've got some great shit going to happen for this one. You know, last year was our first one. It was a running cluster is what it was. But we had a good time. Guests had a good time. Vendors had a good time. So we're going to do it again, and hopefully this time we get it together a little bit better, and we have an even better damn time. So
I don't think
check
it was
out
even noticeable
2026.
that if it was a cluster fuck, I didn't think it was even noticeable. I think people had a good time.
But
And I know I was talking to Nissa, the girl had a booth that did all that like spiritual stuff. She had like Dungeons and Dragons stuff there. She was like a vendor out there, and she said she wants to come back out for it
outstanding.
next
Yeah,
year.
I did manage to, like, everybody that did fill out a vendor package last year, I've got their email and everything. Once I get everything put together and I know what I'm doing with it, I'm going to send out the vendor package again for this year. Vendor booth's only going to be $50. I don't think anybody was disappointed in the vendor fee last year. Sponsorship packages will be put together. We'll figure out what you get with the sponsorships. And, you know, I've got a lot of design work to do, but we'll get it all figured out. But yeah, I believe, you know what? Let me do this. I'm going to pull up the calendar here just to make sure I'm right. Let's just see. There's May. That's March. That ain't right. Yeah, there's May. And I think we're looking at 22nd, 23rd. But don't quote me, but I'm fairly certain. Maybe it wasn't May. Shit, I don't know. I got to look back at the calendar itself. But
We'll
it's
figure
coming.
it out.
It's coming.
We'll know by the time it gets here what day it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Uh,
All right, man.
but yeah,
Thank
check
you.
us out, man. We got all the socials up and running. I even have a rainbow now.
Yeah, I didn't even know Rainbow existed.
REINBOW. Go find the cabin on 360. Check us out. You'll catch me again.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. We'll have you back on next year. We'll talk about Cabin Con, and we'll hear some more stories from you.
By all means.
All right, brother. You take care.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Y'all have a blessed week.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. A little too fast on the
You're over there spilling your mic and everything.
I am, man. It's on. There it is. It was on the cord. So it's a little bit late. So I'm gonna go through this really fast. Next week we have our Canadian connection coming
Woohoo!
on the show. Teresa Leduc, I don't know, LEDUC, Chalmers Crowley from Paranormal Spirit Investigations, is coming on the show, and we're going to talk about the goodness of maple syrup. The whole show. So I'm going to talk about ghosts.
I need to send Teresa something. There was when we were at Trans Allegheny, there was a picture up, and it was about a lady, but it's called the maple sugar candy lady. When I saw it, I immediately thought of Teresa. I was like, I need to take a picture of this and send it to her.
I'll send her random pictures of like maple candies. And I'll find at the drugstore or whatever. And then this Thursday coming up, we've got Shadows Abound on our TikTok. So guys, you know, we're doing our best to bring you the best paranormal content we can. And we really appreciate you guys coming on, taking your time to join us every Tuesday night, every Thursday night, and once a month on Sundays. What a freaking awesome playlist. Guys, we're going to be back here on TikTok, 9 o'clock, Thursday night. Same freaking awesome time.
Same freaking awesome show.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.